Okay, all, I have done a few things now. I've drilled all the holes for the stitching on the outer perimeter of the main sheath. I've attached these straps on all 4 points. I've went ahead and done this strap, and I'll show you how I did it on the other one. So the way you do this is you know, once you've got it all attached, then you pull it around, pull it fairly snug, and you hold it over this, and then you press down on it really hard as you can, reasonably can. And what will happen is you'll get 2 indentions in the leather on the side that you push. And so then you take a nail or something and you measure and mark, or mark if you don't need to measure, the center of that, center of those impressions. And that'll form the point where you punch. So then you take the punch out the holes, this should snap. Now I make these really tight, basically as tight as I can reasonably get them, and then I figured they're going to loosen up over time anyway, so might as well get them tight, really tight first. Now on this one you can see that I went ahead and chose to kind of do a little pattern around it, not quite round it off, just cut on 3 sides. So I'll do the same thing here. Okay, so now you can see that it's on there, but the edges are not so great, so I'll go burnish the edges like I have before in the past on the other sides. But there, I mean, other than the burnishing, you've pretty much got your straps on there now. You can, you know, put them through your belt loop or your backpack strap or whatever, however you're attaching it. So what I have left to do now, other than burnishing, is I've got to sew it in on here, here, and here, and then I've got to attach the strap that goes across here. So I'll show you that after I get the sewing done. I'm back. The sheath is pretty close to done. I've got all the stitching in, all the clasps are in, except for this part right here that holds the blade in place. Because I remade the handles into something else, I went ahead and made some a fire steel and a magnesium stick to match it. So, like so. So that's with those in place. I don't have any shot cord, any 1/8 inch shot cord. If I did, what I would probably do is drill a hole through these and then form a loop back over the other end so that it held it in place. Right now they're held in place fine, but as these 2 things become smaller and smaller over use, they'll eventually get to the point where they'll fall out. So you really need some kind of clasping mechanism, and if I had some shot cord I could put it over here and it would come back like a rubber band and hold it in place even if it was much smaller. The last step is to attach the clasp here. So what I've done is I've taken another strip of leather and I've used the biggest punch on here, punched it in 2 places at the end and just maybe 1/2 inch down from that, and then cut out most of the area in between, and that forms a loop. And so you've got your loop like that. So then to cut it to length and to attach it, what I'll do is I'll bring it back like this, and then on the back side of the first strap I've marked an area here, just leave a little impression here where I'll cut it off like this, and then I can put in 1 or 2 rivets and that'll hold it in place, and shouldn't interfere with taking the thing on and off. The downside to this, because it is going over it like this, you'll have to undo this to take off at least to easily take off the belt loops. But that's really not that big a deal. It's not like the knife's going to fall out or anything. But if that is a problem for you, what you could do is you could move these down so that it's attached to a different spot that did not interfere with these loops. But that's just up to you. I wanted it as far back as I could so that I could still have room for these two things, and then also possibly put cordage around it. So I'll do that next. I'll cut the back and then rivet it and show you what it looks like at the end. Okay, well, I have the strap attached now. You can see I have it attached to the back of the sheath. It was a little challenging to get those rivets in there. I probably should have done this before I assembled the whole thing, but I really wasn't sure exactly where to place it, so I wound up having to use a pair of needle nose to get the one side of the rivet in there, and then shove the anvil part in there just barely, and then hammer it on. So, but I managed to get it on there. So so now there, and then just strap it in, and that's it. That's pretty much the sheath finished. I put a little coat of wax on it because the leather, after soaking it in water and everything, tends to get a little dried out, so you might want to put some beeswax on it or something like that to help it from doing that. There may be other treatments you could do, maybe some mineral oil or something like that, but that's pretty much the finished thing. I'll take some pictures of it with a decent camera and post them on the end of the video, and hopefully that makes the pictures a little bit better than what you can see out of the camcorder here. But that's the finished product. So it's not exactly a work of art, but it definitely makes for a functional sheath. So if you guys want to make a sheath for your BK2, you might try something like this. I think it works out pretty well, and I think it'll hold up over the years. So best of luck, and if any of you guys make your own, post them as a response video if you get a chance. I'd like to see what other ideas you all have had on making something similar. So talk to y'all later.